So I'll go one by one. The first program is PM-KSY. It is a program with the Krishna Child. It is actually it is not a separate program as such. In 2015-16, the government took a decision. At that time, there were several schemes for helping the state government in water sector. And these were run by, some of them were run by Ministry of Water Resources at that time, and some by Agriculture Ministry and the Department of Land Resources and the DoWR. Say, for example, AIBP, which was basically for implementation of projects. Projects with their on completion, were basically supported by central government for their early completion. Then we had this command area development oriented program. Then we have RRO water body repair, rejuvenation, restoration of water body. Then we were also providing funds to small surface minor irrigation schemes under AIBP. So these were the schemes which were basically implemented by Department of Water Resources. Then under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, we had one scheme under them, under which they were supporting this micro irrigation in implementation of micro irrigation in farms. They were providing assistance to farmers for putting this micro irrigation system. Then under Department of Land Resources also, I think eco is basically because some of our participants have kept their mic on. So if they can put their mic off, there will be no echo. Hello.
It's good to go now.
So these were the four schemes which were basically brought under one umbrella, and that was called now done with the. Why it was done? So because these schemes were being taken up in a standalone manner. They were basically for the same purpose. They were basically to have a better irrigation facility in our district, but they were basically implemented in a separate. So it was thought that whatever effort which is being done by central government should be integrated under one scheme, and these efforts should come forward from a document. That document was basically irrigation plan, which was to be developed for the schemes under PM-KSY. It was asked every district to come with an irrigation plan. Now all the district irrigation plan was to be combined and a state irrigation plan was to be formed, and then a master plan for it. So all these schemes, there is a framework under AIBP for basically recommendation of this scheme. These schemes, anything which has to be taken under this scheme has to come with the recommendation of various level committees. Say, for example, there was state level sanctioning committee. So all these schemes were put up to those state level sanctioning committee, and once they are recommended, then they were basically implemented and provided support. So it was basically to integrate the effort of government so that we can have optimal utilization of funds available under the system. So under Department of Water Resources, basically, there was two schemes. One was accelerated irrigation benefit program, and another was command area development program. Now, prior to 16-17, these schemes were funded from the budgetary allocation which was available to department. But in 16-17, it was thought that we need to augment the resources. We need to augment resources for the purpose. So a separate window was created under NABARD. And NABARD was under LTF, long-term irrigation fund. A separate window was created for funding these. So the availability of fund for the scheme could be ensured, and there was no delay because of availability of fund for those. So a separate window. And another thing important was that state government could also, since these are schemes which are funded to financial assistance, part financial assistance from central and part from the state government. Under various things. At some places it is 60-40, at some places 25-75, at some places it is 90-10 also. So some fund was to be provided by a state also. So under this NABARD, the state was also allowed to take loans from NABARD. And it was basically over and above their capacity under normal existing. This was additional credit given to them for getting loan for these particular schemes. But the other scheme under ministry, say for example, our water body surface minor irrigation, they were continually funding under the budget component of ministry. So by doing this, we have ensured funding that none of the schemes should stop because of lack of funding in budget. Just for a small background regarding the AIBP, as I explained in my earlier lecture also, that AIBP was launched in 1996, and it was basically to cover those schemes which were near completion. And because of some funding, lack of funding, they could not be completed, and so the benefits which we could get from them was not coming. So Government of India launched this AIBP, that these schemes which were near completion were identified and they were included under AIBP for AIBP funding. So since 1996, about 297 irrigation projects, multi-purpose projects, were included for funding under this particular program. Out of these 297, about 143 programs were completed by 2016, 143 programs were completed. 5 were foreclosed because of various reasons. State government was not ready to go ahead with the implementation of the scheme. At the time of 1617, there was about 149 ongoing. So some of the projects in this particular list was basically getting delayed because of some reason which were beyond the capacity of state government to be addressed. Say, for example, reasons related to land acquisition or reasons related to inter-state issues. Many such things were there and they could not be, they were getting delayed. So a committee was formed under the chairmanship of Minister of Water Resources Shakti to go into these schemes and to try to find out and to prioritize those schemes and to find out which scheme which can be completed in a time frame manner by the end of say that plan 2017 or 20 by the end of 2020. Those schemes were identified which can be completed by them. So 99 projects were identified, and these projects were basically it was taken a decision that only these projects will be funded under PMKSY through this NABARD fund, so that these can be completed. So these 99 projects were taken up. Similarly, for PMKSY CAD, this particular program was launched in 74-75, as it was felt that the potential which was being created was not being utilized by the government. So this command area development program was taken up, and many, almost I think 200 or more schemes were included for funding under that, and many of them were completed also. So when the decision of this 99 identified project was taken, it was also decided that command area program, command area development program of these 99 schemes will also be funded under NABARD funding, so that the funding is ensured for all these projects. None of the projects should get delayed because of funding. So in this way, the PMKSY had component for funding of 99 AIBP projects ongoing, including their CAD development. Out of this PMKSY 99 projects, till date, 44 projects have been completed. There are another 40 projects which is almost completed, wherein progress is more than, I say, 90%. So these are also can be considered as completed. So from these projects, irrigation potential of 18.16 lakh hectares was created during this period of 2016. And the CAD area development program was also taken for these projects. And this work was completed for the area of 14.72. So some special feature of this particular program was that for the first time, ministry was basically monitoring these programs with online. Or MIS was created. The state wants to put information under those programs so that it can be very closely monitored how much work is going on, where they are, if some scheme are getting stuck up for some reason or other, what could be the way out, how that can be addressed. So this monitoring was done to have a time-bound completion of this particular program. And another important, apart from that, NABARD funding, which is also a special feature of this. Someone is complaining that there is some disturbance due to some people are still not muted their mic. Please, I request all to mute their mic. So, in this particular what we have did, we have basically promoted 5 distribution networks in many districts, so that the actually so 5 distribution network was basically 5 distribution network was basically encouraged under this. By this, it is meant that the till now the command area development was mainly through open channels. But for this particular testing, we have ensured that some of the distribution network should be done through pipe network. Pipe network is definitely having a better efficiency. So just to improve the efficiency. And another thing is that for the pipe distribution network, cost saving is also in terms of land acquisition. Because for laying a pipe, you require less. Even the distribution canals at some places were put under pipe, so that there is less land acquisition. And as you all know, land acquisition is a very big problem in implementation of this project. So many projects we could incur saving in many of the projects by use of pipe distribution. So apart from this PM case one, central government is also providing fund for some specific scheme under through budget as well as through the back funding. It is that in July 28 we funded some. We have provided a special package to Maharashtra for taking up 83 surface minor irrigation, 8 million project in the drought prone areas. Similarly, we funded the projects for relining of Rajasthan and southern Kedah. These are the feeders which are basically there to provide water in Punjab and Rajasthan. Then we are also providing Shahpur Kandi Dam project. Shahpur Kandi Dam project is basically a national project. So we are also for providing funding from that. This project was not included under the PSY, but later came into this. So that is also being funded. Then some funding is provided for completion of this North Coal project. This is a project in Bihar and Jharkhand which was lagging since 1993 and could not be completed. So on the request of this thing, the concerned this project was included under for funding under especially special funding from Ministry of Water Resources. Now I'll come to the other component. As I said, there are 2 or 3 components under the PMKSY which is being funded by central government. The one component is Arkhet Kopani groundwater. So what it was felt that there are many districts in the country which are irrigation deprived. They have less coverage, irrigation coverage in these areas. There were almost 112 such districts. And in these districts, it was found that we have replenishable groundwater resources available for use. Say for example, in these particular this thing, the groundwater development was less than 75%. So some amount of groundwater resources are available which could be utilized for increasing coverage. So under Har Khet Ko Pani, we thought that we should fund the minor irrigation through groundwater under these schemes. So these is under groundwater proposal were sought from the states and a target of covering almost 21 lakh hectares in 96 post-water deprived districts were kept. So as on today, the state of Assam, Arunachal, Gujarat, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, they are seeking fund under this particular scheme. For last 2 or 3 years, almost 220 crore has been given to different state government for this purpose. Here you can say these particular scheme is taken up only in those areas where we have groundwater resources available. So the thing is that the state has to ensure that after taking of these schemes, the development should not go beyond 75. So all care is being taken that the groundwater should not be overexploited. It is basically that whatever replenishable resources are available under these area that can be utilized for increasing coverage. This scheme of Arkhet Kopani groundwater was taken by the ministry. As I said, 2 schemes were basically in place prior to PMKSY. We were providing fund for some minor irrigation scheme as well as for repair, renovation, and restoration of water bodies. So these 2 schemes were included, taken under this umbrella. And since 12 plan, that means for the last 5 or 6 years, almost under the SMI scheme, almost 6,000 schemes were taken up for a total estimated cost of 13,000 crore and assistant of about 7,000 crore has been released for such a scheme. Similarly, for repair and revision of water bodies, almost 2,300 schemes were taken up in the 12th, since 12th month when this PMKSY came into existence. And central assistance of about 350 crore has been released to various states under this. If anybody is interested on how much amount has been issued to each state, the MIS portal of Ministry of Water Resources is providing detail about all this scheme, detail about fundings and other things of these schemes. So one can refer to that particular MIS which is available. Then the next flagship program of ministry is Ravi. It was basically earlier the aspects related to Ganga was being dealt in Ministry of Environment and Forestry. During the last this particular subject was brought into Ministry of Water Resources, and then a scheme was approved. This was basically a scheme was approved for 20,000 crore, for investment of 20,000 crore for rejuvenation of river Ganga. So for various works which are to be taken for rejuvenation. So the type of works which are being taken under this scheme are basically construction of several networks in basically town of various town in Ganga basin, Ganga and its tributary. Then construction of sewage treatment plant was also taken under this scheme. Construction of ETP, effluent treatment plant for industrial area was also common. At various places, common effluent treatment plant was being constructed. Then development of ghats was also there, in which not only ghat development was taken up, crematorium was also constructed, modernized. Then several activities for afforestation as well as for conservation of aquatic and biodiversity was also taken up under this plan. Then we have Namami Gange. Under the Namami Gange, we are doing a lot of mass awareness. As you maybe appreciate that until and unless citizens are aware of their duties related to mass related to this thing, related to keeping the Ganga clean, it will not be possible for government to take up projects and show the results. So the involvement of public is very important in such a program. So Namami Gange is undertaking many programs in the entire stretch of river in form of they are conducting workshops, they are conducting uh, yatras, they have conducted boat tours and all this. Many such activities were taken up, and the the citizens which are residing near Ganga, they were the mass awareness program was conducted for them so that they become aware that what are their duties. So for this purpose, they are taking huge public mass awareness program. Then this scheme is also having a component for knowledge improvement with respect to the research. So a lot of research are being, a lot of works are being given to many organizations, so that our knowledge with respect to this will be improved. This is basically the activities which are being taken under Namami Gange. So, as far as achievement is concerned, till date, about 151 sewerage management projects were taken up for creating STP capacity of about 3,760 million liters per day. Out of these, 54 projects have been completed so far. Then 52 riverfront development programs were taken, under which 182 ghats, 9 pools, and 53 crematoria was either strengthened or modernized or constructed new crematoria was constructed. Out of these works for 132 ghats have been completed, 39 crematoria work is also completed. Then at several locations, river surface cleaning work was also taken. Another location in different states, this works have been basically just the filth which is seen on the surface of this was basically skimmers were placed at these locations so that that can be removed, so that appearance of Ganga at these places should become good. So at 11 location, this river surface cleaning work was also taken. Uh, Industrial for control of industrial effluents, 572 gross polluting industry, and in these industries, this effluent monitoring system was installed so that the effluent which is coming out of that industry will be monitored, and if the effluent are not as per the standard which is being prescribed for them, they were getting punished, they were getting closed. Many of such industries were getting closure notice. Some were closed also if they didn't follow the laws. Then one another activity under this program was taken that there are several villages along the bank of River Ganga from its Gangotri to its outfall at Ganga. So these Gram Panchayat were identified, and under the DoWS we supported Department of Drinking Water for construction of toilets in these particular, so that the sewage which was coming directly from these villages to Ganga could be used. And under this particular activity, about more than 8,50,000 toilets have been constructed in about 1,670 gram panchayats along the river Ganga. So with these efforts, now the situation in Ganga is improving, and we hope that it will get better day by day. So these basically two programs were for providing support to the states for doing the water resources development or rejuvenation of river. Then there are certain activities which ministry supports just to improve the scenario. Say, for example, the capabilities of our central and state agencies. We should have better data facility. Until and unless you have data for different processes, it is very difficult to manage those processes. So it was in 1995. It was felt that until and unless we have data for hydrology, say for example, water related data and all other data, and if these data are not available to the concern in a quickly retrievable system, so it will not be possible for people to do studies and do take up projects, design projects. So it was felt that a lot is need to be improved on this aspect. So successive hydrology projects were taken up by the ministry. Right now we are implementing national hydrology project. This particular project is basically being implemented with the help of World Bank. So under this project, we have basically different agencies which are working in water resources development and who needs data as such, who have to collect data, who require data for their planning purposes. They are basically involved. So there are 37 state level agencies, mostly state governments, water resources department, and 12 central agencies involved. So basic output of this project will be that we will be having a better system for collection of data, for storing it, and for better retrieval. It should be available to the user agency uh, on a click of button. So for achieving that sort of status, these projects are being undertaken by. So the current National Hydrology Project is basically it was approved in 2016, and it will be implemented over a period of 8 years. And it is basically World Bank supported project. And the special feature in this particular earlier whatever work was taken under this technology project, it was basically that the state was also have to contribute in that particular. So since the not contribution of the state was not forthcoming, it was decided that in this particular phase of technology project, we will provide grants to the states for implementation, so that there is no problem of funds in states. In earlier project under HP1 and HP2, since the state has to contribute certain amount in particular district, so many states didn't forthcome. They didn't provide that money. So works in those states would not be taken up in the required manner. So this time it was decided that entire fund which is provided to the implementing agency, it will be provided as a grant from the central. So under this particular project, we have four different types of activity being funded. The first, the first activity which is being funded under this program is basically collection of data. So it was thought that these data collection should be done in a modern manner through automatic sensor-based equipments, and data from the sites should be transferred to the data center through this thing, through satellite-based telemetry-based system. So, with this purpose, the whatever existing stations are there, if they need certain added equipments, these are being provided. New stations are being opened under the various states where we have less number of stations available. Then this particular thing is that collection of data. Then how the data will be disseminated. So for dissemination of data, we already have formed National Water Information System, which is an agency, which is a body under Ministry of Water Resources, which will be having all these data with them in a web-based database. So all the agencies who are collecting data, they will be basically contributing data to that national database, and anyone who requires that data, any person who is bona fide, can take the data from that particular system through web-based system only. So this WARIS, basically this is Water Resources Information System. Right now we have this Water Information System at the central level. It was thought that similar Water Resources Information System would also be there at state level. So under this particular program, we have kept the provision for further modernization of India WARIS. As I said in my earlier lecture, we are now having Water Information Management System, WIMS, in place of WARIS. So the development of WIMS has been taken for national level database, and the state were also asked that they should have a database specific to their states, which they can run on their this thing, so that whatever data, state level data is available, they can have. They can put it over there, and that will be available for use by the state agencies. Similarly, there are many tools which is available, which basically support analysis of data or use of data. Say, for example, we have to conduct IWRM studies. So, provision has been kept under this particular national project, so that these studies could be supported. Similarly, for the flood forecasting system, which is at present working under Central Water Commission, it was the provision for advancement of those systems by adding mathematical models, by providing web-based system for dissemination of the forecast. These system, these development of such system was also kept. Then, as you could understand that these are modern systems, so we need persons also to run those systems. So huge institutional capacity development program has been kept under, so that the professionals from state and central government could be trained, so that they can use this modern system which is being installed under this approach. Because until that system is run by local persons, it is not possible to sustain. In order that the local person could get trained on all these things, huge institutional capacity development program is also there. So this national hydrology project will run for another 2 years, 4 or 5 years, and we hope that the position with respect to data and all these things will get better data. Then we have another project under program running under Department of Water Resources. This program is related to rehabilitation of dams. As I said, that maintaining the dams in a good condition is needed to ensure security of people who are residing in the vicinity in the downstream areas. If a failure occurs, it causes huge devastation. So, ensuring the safety of dams is a paramount importance for us. There are several dams in our country which are more than 50 years old, and the upkeep of dams, some of those dams are not up to mark. So it was felt that there is a need that we should take rehabilitation activity to rehabilitate them so that we can ensure the safety of them. So earlier in prior to this particular project, one pilot project was also taken up for dam safety, and under that a few dams were taken up for rehabilitation. Then with the experience gained in that project, we started this DRIP, uh, Dam Rehabilitation Improvement Program in the year 2012 for a period of 6 years. This has been extended and this particular is going to end in 2021. So under this particular program, there were two components. One component was related to rehabilitation of dams, under which about 198 dams in 7 states were rehabilitated. Then under this, the provision was also kept to enhance the capacity of almost all organizations which are involved in that. This could be state government, this could be central government, this could be institute with support with certain studies. There are various institutes, there are many studies which are conducted by various institutes which are required for the safety of dams. Say, for example, studies related to seismic data, identification of seismic parameters. So such studies are being taken by either IITs and many institutes. So we are also enhancing their capacity with respect to the tools which is available over there, with training and all this. So lot of training program is also conducted. Various guidelines have been formulated under this scheme. So all these things are basically to ensure the upkeep of dams in our country. Now, after this DRIP fund, it is now coming to end. We have also planned DRIP 2 and DRIP 3. These are basically two more phases which are being planned for coming 10 years. There will be a period of 2 years overlapping, so 5, 6 year each. 6 year, 1 6 year with a provision of 2 years overlapping. So for 10-year period, we are planning this DRIP 2 and DRIP 3. And this will also be with the help of World Bank. World Bank is ready to support. There will be 19 states involved in this DRIP 2 and DRIP 3. And we are planning to rehabilitate about 736 dams in this particular DRIP 2 and DRIP 3. This endeavor will cost us about 10,200 crores. So this particular program is in high stage of discussion with the World Bank, and we have already got the in-principle approval. So other formalities are being done, and it is likely to start next or I mean, next to next. So these are basically program for improvement of dams. Now recently we have launched another program for basically use of groundwater, related to use of groundwater. As you might be knowing that in our country there are many areas wherein use of groundwater is excessive, and that has resulted in overexploitation. We are basically using more than what is replenishable. So in this way, what is happening that the water level in these areas are going down day by day, and it will become difficult day by day to use the resources over there. So in order, there are many interventions which could be thought of in these areas by which we can improve the situation. What are these interventions? These are basically, say for example, improvement in water use efficiency. Right now, whatever water use efficiency that we can improve upon Then we can also have a demand side intervention. Say, for example, many such areas where overexploitation is going on, we are basically cultivating those crops which are water guzzlers. So we can think of crop diversification. We can take those crops which takes less amount of water. So many such activities are possible in these areas. So in order to take such activity, this Atal Jal Yojana was launched. So it is basically, this is also a one-time assisted program, and we have a provision of 6,000 crore under this program. 2,000 crore is the support which will be provided by the government of India, and 3,000 crore world. And here also entire fund will be passed on to the state as a grant. And this is basically the scheme is of duration of 5 years. So in under this scheme, we are covering 7 states, 78 districts of 7 states, and we will be actually making people aware so that they are able to consume less water without basically they would increase the productivity of water. They will be for the same activities, they will be using less water. So sustainable groundwater development will be ensured through community participation. People will be trained to do water budgeting. They whatever water which is available with them, they can plan those water in such a manner that over exploitation do not occur. We don't end up extracting more water from them. So these type of activities will be taken under this program in coming 5 years, so that these programs are basically being taken up in those areas where we have over exploitation. So various intervention will also be taken under this particular project in form of water conservation, say for example, construction of check dams and other water conservation measures, so that we can increase the recharge in those areas, so that we have a better water table scenario in the coming years. So for all these purposes, Atal Jal Yojana was launched last year, and many states have already come with these funds have been released to many states. Now there is another program. As I said, that we have various organizations under this thing, under Ministry of Water Resources. So their works are being funded by Ministry under some of the programs. So there is one program called Development of Water Resources Information System. So this program is basically most of the activities of Central Water Commission is being funded under this particular. So under this, as I said, the Central Water Commission is observing hydrological data as about 1600 sites, and all they are also providing flood forecasting services at about 325 sites. So these activities, under these activities, various work are taken, data observation, availability of remote telemetry data for those stations which are supporting flood forecasting. So many such activities are there. There are few more other activities also. I have given you the lecture note that will be available to you, under which I have given detail of activities which are taken under this particular program. Some of these activities are that Central Water Commission is also monitoring reservoir level in various reservoirs, so as to have information related to water which is available in reservoir for supporting agriculture activities. Then Central Water Commission is also implementing a scheme for collection of data related to coastal listing under this coastal management information system. They are collecting data at various stations related to tides and all these things, so that this coastal protection work or the work related to protecting the coastal areas from erosion and all these things will be taken up in a more scientific way. So various such activities are basically taken up by Central Water Commission under this particular project. So this is a scheme which is being implemented by Central Water Commission under the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Then for supporting the activities of groundwater board, we have this groundwater management and regulations. So under the scheme, right now what is going on, we are basically mapping our aquifer. The information related to aquifer is very important to manage to get a sustainable this thing from aquifer. So that groundwater is not used in a unsustainable manner. We should know how much water is available in those aquifer and how that could be used so that we don't end up over exploiting the resources. So under this program, Central Groundwater Board is taking activity for mapping of. They will be creating a map of aquifer for a depth of somewhere it is 200 meters, somewhere it is 300 meters. And what is the formation which is available there, which are the water bearing formation, how these formations are interconnected with each other. Where are the recharge zones for these aquifers? These are many questions which could be answered after we have this aquifer map available with us. And with the available aquifer map, we can have programs for better utilization of groundwater resources. So creation of such map is being undertaken under this particular scheme. Then Central Groundwater Board is having large number of wells in the entire country where they are monitoring the levels. They are coming up with the assessment every 2 years, indicating how much water, replenishable water is available in our country. So that whatever programs we are planning, we do not end up using, end up in exploitation of water. So on yearly basis, they are collecting the depth of water in these particular wells. There are, I think, more than 25,000 wells in the entire country. From all these wells, the samples are collected and water level is measured in those wells. The samples which are collected are tested to find out if there is any contamination available or the water which is available there is polluted by some source, say for example iron or this thing, arsenic or some other. So through these studies, they are basically coming up with the data regarding the aquifers and how better we can utilize this aquifer so that we do not end up exploiting the resources. We should only uh, exploit that amount of water from aquifer which is replenishable every year so that water table does not go down. So this scheme, under this scheme, they also have capacity building of community. They are basically conducting various workshops in the remote areas where they basically interact with people and tell them because these aquifers are basically used for drinking purpose in almost entire country. So people should know what what is the status of such this thing water, whether this particular area falls under certain this thing maybe arsenic affected area is there. So what sort of activities, how they should use water from aquifer so that they are not affected by this particular pollutant. So such type of programs they conduct every year in these areas, and they make the community aware of their of the problem and how to address that. So these activities are taken under the stormwater management and regulation program. Then, as you know, a large area in our country are affected by flood, and for that purpose, central government initiated a project program in 10th plan to support the activities of state government. We were providing the central assistance for construction of flood protection, anti-erosion, drainage development, and anti-sea erosion. So various works were taken up in 10th plan, 11th plan. But right now, during the current planning period, that is 2017, almost 83 projects were ongoing under this program. Out of these, 11 were completed. This figure is slightly, I could not get the latest figure in this regard. this figure has slightly improved. So various this thing has been completed, and an amount of almost 1450 crore were released to the state for all these applications. Apart from that, under this program, we are also conducting some activities in border areas also. We are funding various schemes in border areas. We are also running various observation sites in Nepal and all the three countries, so that we have information from that particular area, which is very helpful in flood forecasting in our area. Then this one important project is also being funded under this particular Pancheshwar Development Authority, which is there for construction of Pancheshwar Dam. So that is also being funded. So under this flood management program, various activities related to flood management is being funded by the ministry. Then, as you might be knowing, that earlier first the works related to Ganga was entrusted to Ministry of Water Resources in I think 2014 or so, and then last with the last government, this other conservation of other rivers were also entrusted to Ministry of Water Resources, and one of the activity which were taken up by uh, Ministry of Environment and Forest were transferred to Ministry of Water Resources. And under this activity, basically, we are funding, as we have done in the case of National Mission for Clean Ganga for Ganga Basin. Such activity in other basin is being funded under this particular project. So, at present, we are basically funding 34 such projects in the entire country. Projects on 34 rivers, basically. 77 towns are being done. And we are providing central assistance for construction of sewage treatment plant under this. So, central assistance of 2,500 crore has been released under this. And through these programs, sewage treatment capacity of 2,500 MLD has been. So, as the Ganga MNCG is taking care of River Ganga, for the other basins in the country, we are having this National River Conservation Plan, which is being implemented by Ministry of Water Resources since last year. Then there are some few small programs also there. Say, for example, we have a program for river basin management, under which we are funding the activities of National Water Development Agency. National Water Development Agency are basically taking up works for interlinking of projects. They are basically conducting feasibility studies. They are preparing DPR and all these things for this program. So these activities are being funded under that particular program. Then we have activities of Brahmaputra Board, which is being funded under this program, where they are preparing master plans and they are preparing DPR of multi-purpose projects in the northeastern state. Then Central Water Commission is also, as I said, the Central Water Commission is taking investigation for the state government. So the investigation for these states are generally carried at the expense of central government. So provision for that particular work is also kept under the river basin management. Then we have a scheme for National Water Mission. National Water Mission is basically implementing a few studies. As I said in the earlier lecture, we are basically working for water efficiency and all these things. So their activities is a very small component which is being funded under the. We are doing some studies to find out. Under this particular component, only the establishment of water use, water use efficiency is being done. So when that will come, their activity will grow to a larger scale. Then we are also supporting R&D in water sector through R&D scheme. In this, the works which are being done by our premier organizations. Say, for example, Central Water and Power Research Station, Central Soil and Material Research Station, NIH, and many studies which are being done by Central Water. These are being taken with the funded under this scheme. We are also promoting research in universities and all this. So we are providing funds to various institutes for taking up work, research work in the area of resources. So we provide funds for that. Then dissemination of research, we are publishing reports, we are also conducting seminars, and we are providing support for conducting seminar for dissemination of research. And there are various other studies also being conducted by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Those such as studies, basically, this particular scheme is basically for research and studies in water sector. Then some internal scheme are there for capacity building. For example, the activities of NWE is being funded under that scheme. Then we have infrastructure development scheme. So these are small schemes which are being taken up by Mr. Waters. So this is basically a brief background of all the schemes which is being taken up by Mr. Waters. Now the floor is open for question and